Recording's on.
Okay. All right, I'm going to share that screen. 1 second. Everyone can see that, yeah?
We can.
Yep.
Cool. Whoop. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started now. So, again, welcome, everyone. We're very glad that you are here. We're streaming this simultaneously on Facebook Live, as we had said. That's the URL. If there's not enough space, and that's very likely to be the case, just send someone to our Facebook page at facebook.com/battlegroundeurope. This software has built-in Q&A capabilities. We would ask, you can see that listed on your UI. You're welcome to ask questions as we go along. Those will be answered primarily by text, so just be aware of that. Today we'll have several team presentations. We'll have a question and answer session by voice once we conclude those presentations. During that time, throughout all of those presentations, we highly encourage you to write your questions on a notepad. That way, when we get to that Q&A session, you're already ready to go. And of course, you just heard this chat will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube later. It will also be, it should be available to Facebook as well for folks to look at that later on. So here's the presentation order today. You'll hear first from the operations team, which consists of our system administrators, and they work on our infrastructure. Then we'll go to our development team, the software engineering. Quality assurance guys, those test things out and work closely with the dev and ops team. Our marketing team will talk about what they're doing on social media, the Steam store, and also the third-party sites. That's what they focus on. Then you'll hear from our community development team. They do our community tools and sites, things like that. Then our community management team, you should know who they are. They're the most visible in the community, working with high command in the forums, etc. You'll also hear from the production team, which focuses on art, data, and content, new toys, things like that. At present day, this is what our team looks like here at Corner Rat Software. You can certainly see that our team has grown quite a bit for a while, and it looks pretty solid. So let's talk about strategy. This is where my stuff, the high-level strategy and what we're doing. Okay, we're deploying on Steam, as you all know or should know by now, this summer. We'll be going, we're in the coming soon stage right now, but we're going to early access as soon as we're ready. We project at this point that the direction we're going within the next couple months will be on Steam. We have some final things that we're wrapping up. And then after 6 months of early access, we'll do a full release. We're choosing to go early access first. That way we can buy a little bit of grace from the Steam community and be as prepared as possible for an actual full release. So as many people that come in the door come into something that's already prepared, tested, and it's a beautiful day. That will be a very good day. Meanwhile, we are now on the Steam store page. We'll talk about that more with our marketing presentation, go into further detail at that time. My goal is to grow a production team that has 2 wings. The first is what we have, and that's the continued production of World War II Online. And the second will be the development of next generation content. Then we'll work on deploying on Amazon games. This will be happening simultaneously as we start to grow and develop that second wing for development. Our mission here is the same thing with Steam. We're trying to increase our market visibility. It is the #1 thing that this great and fun, filled with content game has been struggling with for many years. And we're starting to see quite a bit of traffic through Steam to justify all these reasons already. So we need to let people know that our game exists. We'll also make our game available for sale on multiple third-party websites now that we have, with Steam, the ability to generate keys and even widgets where you can place on websites for people just to click and get involved. So that's really cool. Steam is opening a lot of doors that have been shut off for us for a while. The next generation product planning is also underway. We're not prepared to talk into details about that, but the reason I'm mentioning it to you now is that you understand that we're looking and emphasizing that we're forward thinkers, where we want to continue to do what we do here best and make sure World War II Online is as healthy as possible, and also work towards the future. And we're going to continue this real quick, and this should be, I think, the last slide. Increased market exposure equals more players. The more people hear about us, the more people join. If we get more players, we get more resources. And if we get more resources, we get more full-time personnel and flexibility to do things. More full-time personnel equals increased development speed and velocity. We can get things done faster and much better. A next generation product is required to meet modern market needs. And we're certainly going to be looking at that very closely. We, at this stage, are definitely continuing the theme of what we've done all along. Again, we'll talk about that later on when it makes more sense, which will probably be sometime after we've done the full release on Steam. That product planning is still underway. CRS Hornet Software and all those team members that you saw before is now an official entity working very closely with Playnet to run and develop World War II Online. So no real change here. We just want you guys to know that, yeah, we're our own business and we're still continuing to work very closely with Playnet. It's a very tight relationship, and we're deeply committed to the continuation and betterment of everything we do here. And that's what that just said right there. So coming up next, we have our team presentations. We are going to get started with Pilot MC. He's our lead system administrator, and he's going to take us through a walk and what the operations team is doing. So Pilot, it's all you.
Oh, that's better. Alrighty. So, hey everyone, this is Pilot MC, and I'm glad to be here today to talk about what we're doing in order to improve the operational and infrastructure part of World War II Online. And are you sharing the presentation, Zoom?
I can. Are you mobile right now?
I don't see I don't see the slides anymore.
Yeah, I wasn't aware I was presenting your stuff. Just 1 second, please.
All right.
Are you mobile?
I can get it.
I am mobile right now.
Okay. Yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead, Ruby.
So we're working on making improvements to the infrastructure and the operations side in a number of areas. I want to specifically touch on 4 or 5 of them today for you guys. The first is
Not hearing Pilot at all.
Yeah, I'm not either.
hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, can you switch? Are you in via data, or are you using your cell phone connection?
Cell phone.
Okay. Yeah, you're breaking up pretty bad, man. Unreadable.
All right, let me see if I can move somewhere else.
Thanks for being patient, everyone. Waver, do you almost have that presentation ready?
You might have to grab it, actually.
If not, I'll just talk from memory. That's no problem. All right, you guys should hear me pretty well now.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so like I was saying, we're working on multiple fronts to improve the infrastructure from the operations side of the house. The first thing we're working on is a local area network connection, which is inside. And what we've done there is we've increased the bandwidth between all of our servers. So this was, we've been around for almost 15 years now. So a lot of this stuff started out with 100 meg networks, for example. And one of the goals right off the bat was to upgrade our internal network so it's gigabit even to everywhere, which makes the most sense since we're pushing around a lot of data. And we want to make sure that we don't become a bottleneck or a choke point to you guys getting timely updates to your game. And so we've done that, and on the inside is we've replaced a lot of our switching gear, so now we're at a higher rate. Also, we've simplified the network. The network when I arrived was pretty complex. A lot of unnecessary different pieces, parts floating around. So we've gone in there and we've gutted out everything that wasn't really necessary to make it a lot more simple. And simplicity means efficiency in the network world. So that, along with the upgrade to gigabit is providing a lot better throughput just internally. On the outside, or the WAN connection, we've changed our ISPs and to get a better peering arrangement. With better peering partners, that means better path through the internet, and hopefully, if it pans out the way it's supposed to, less latency for all your connections. So it's important for you guys. You guys will see the benefit in that, in hopefully lower latency, less ping, and less fallout and dropped packets. So that's what our goal is to once again make your guys' connection into our game network the best and most efficient it can be, just to keep that fluidity in the game while you're playing it. So where am I at now? Oh, I see it now. Excellent. That was the wide area network. So we've let's see, for infrastructure, we're doing a bunch of stuff physically on the ground in our colo to make things more robust, more reliable, and easier to maintain. And to that end, we're replacing some PDUs, which are power management units, to boost our electrical capacity. So that means we'll be able to bring up more and more game content servers if we need them, without running out of juice. It's kind of a big worry of ours. We got to make sure in our operational space, we're always concerned about cooling, power, and connectivity. Monitoring and reporting, we're building systems to better notify us when there are issues with the game, and that translates into a better SLA, or a service level agreement, between us and you guys as to getting in there and fixing problems. So the sooner we hear about them, the sooner we can get in there and fix them. And reporting as well, it's a good idea to keep tabs on the efficiency of the game. If we're watching the latency numbers and we're watching the number of connections, we can adjust things and adapt our environment to keep the connectivity strong for you guys. And once again, that's our goal. We want to give you guys the best experience we can. We've gone on and cleaned out and recabled a lot down in our cabinets, and I think I talked about this before if you've been in other rat chats. But we had a lot of old legacy servers, and as we bring in replacement servers, we're cleaning them out, the old ones out, and taking them away. And also, we're taking that opportunity, as long as those servers are down, to recable as much of the environment as we can with newer, better cabling. So once again, just improvements, even some of them small, some of them big, just to make things work better for everyone. Remote management, remote power. We as a team are spread out all over the United States and all over the world, actually. And so we're not all sitting down hunkering down in a building in Texas. We're all over the place. So it's important for us to be able to get in and take care of things with the environment no matter where we are. And so to that end, we have deployed the ability to remotely power on and off certain servers and log in and see the screens and check things out through VPNs and whatnot. So it's just, once again, making it easier for us to be responsive to you guys when there are issues at hand. And that's about it on the infrastructure side. From the server side, as I mentioned before, we're always working to flow in new and better gear and replace the old existing gear. And we try to do that in a staged approach where it's not going to impact too many people, but at some point it's going to be a little impactful, so please bear with us. We're going to set up some well-known and advertised maintenance windows, and we'll use those windows in time so that everyone knows and can expect when the game will be down or whatnot or be impacted, so that we can go in and make changes. So it's an important thing. More better gear coming in and replacing the old stuff. We'll be adding actually more clusters. So we won't talk much about what that means, but we will have we always want to provide the game with a good, redundant, reliable set of cluster boxes, which is what actually controls the game. So on the increasing reliability, so part of the deal with reliability in our world is that servers have redundant power, for example, so that if one power supply goes out, the box stays running, and redundant network connections, so that if one network card goes down, you still have connectivity to that server, that kind of stuff. So we're working on keeping the game up and running as much as possible. So that's it, basically. I just wanted to once again touch base with everyone, let you know that we're working hard in the operations realm to keep the game up and running and as fast and efficient and reliable as possible so that you guys can enjoy getting out there and playing. Thanks a lot. That's it from Pilot.
Thanks, Pilot. All right, coming up next, we're going to have Frisbone. And guys, we're just going to hammer through all these presentations. We'll be able to answer your questions once we're all concluded. So, Frisbone, there you go.
All right, I'm just pulling it up. Give me a second. Okay, well, they don't let us out much, so bear with me. Our mission, well, we primarily take what the production team gives us, we incorporate it into the game, but our primary focus is to keep adding on new technology, beefing up performance in various areas that you guys are going to be able to see it in the client on the server side. The development team, a lot of you are probably familiar with the name Gadget, but you don't see her much. Tyler Victaris, he is on the chat now. He does a lot of client-side stuff. DF2 is relatively new. Nick M and Pete, they're Brits that just came on here recently with us. And I've been playing this game since 2002. So I've been a player like you. Started a couple years ago on development. At least it seems like a couple years ago, maybe a little bit less. And of course, the community development team is part of the development team. And they work primarily on things that you guys deal with directly every day. Our primary focus is to improve performance. One thing that you guys are very familiar with is things like lag, death lag, warping, complaints of unkillable infantry, tanks. Well, a lot of those things are directly related to networking related problems. Whether it be you've got a slow connection, you've got an unreliable connection, we're having maybe problems that day, just generally speaking, it's in the network world. A lot of those things are going to come across as one of those types of issues. So we're constantly on the hunt for what we can do to improve those things. And the most recent thing that you've seen is a rollout of Netcode 3, which is an attempt to improve those things. And we've gotten positive feedback from that, but not to the point where we're comfortable. We want to keep going. So we're focused on network, code-related stuff. The server performance, obviously, is another focus that Pilot touched on. And client architecture is always a big point of focus for us when it comes to making sure that FPS is what it ought to be. Well, one thing that we have been working on from a development standpoint is making sure that we have the ability to add new servers to the cluster so they can handle new traffic. It's a capability that we've had in the past, but kind of got lost during transitions in the last 3 or 4 years. So we've had to get that back in a working capacity, which we've done very recently. It also includes the ability for us to, and again, Pilot touched on it earlier, for us to have not just clusters for redundancy, but clusters to improve our capacity in general. So instead of just having the game world work on a single cluster, the game world would be spread out amongst multiple clusters. We are focused on system upgrades, as he also, Pilot touched on earlier. The development team works in concert with the operations team to make sure that happens. And for the most time we spend on performance is related to improving the technology, taking some of the APIs that are out of date, upgrading them. And I touched on the cells and the clusters. Maintainability. Also, that's a big focus. We are dealing with software for the most part that was written in the turn of the century. And we have to make sure that as we add new team members, that we have the ability to modify the code base without having people tear their hair out. So we have a lot of old software modules that need to be replaced. So we focus on that. Technical debt is a term maybe a lot of you have heard about. Basically what it means is that we have a lot of aging code out there that needs to be upgraded or replaced. And the way software was developed in 1999 is very different than how it's developed now. And a lot of it affects performance and your ability to spend less time writing code than you would have back then. So technical debt is a very broad category, saying we have a lot of things we need to fix, and we have to go after the low-hanging fruit first, and the things that give us the biggest bang for the buck. Another thing that we like to work on is to help out the test team. We create tools, maintain tools that allow them to do their job, spending less time on it, and also being able to test things they hadn't been able to test in the past. So one of the things we're going to be rolling out next after Steam is integrated voice chat. It is a post-Steam focus. It's going to incorporate a 3D local chat. They're going to be mission-based channels. So in addition to you being able to be spawned in and talk to to anyone that you can see within a certain radius and hear the direction they're coming from, you're also going to be primarily on a mission-based channel. You'll also be able to hear command and control channels based off of what your status is. You'll be able to hear if you're on a target, you're on a channel for a particular target, you'll be able to hear what the CO would be wanting everyone to hear, but there are also going to be behind the scenes channels that mission leaders will be able to talk to other mission leaders and squad leaders and whatnot. So terrain, that's probably something a lot of people think about in this game. I certainly did when I was a player, wanting to see the more towns added, improved buildings in towns and whatnot. We haven't been able to do that for a while. One of the big reasons, of course, we just didn't have the personnel. Well, that's changing. We've got a much bigger team now, as you saw. But tools are a big part of it. So in order to do the things, we had a very complex mechanism in place to develop the terrain. And getting all that stuff going again has been something that we've been having a little bit of focus in recently. And we've had some small successes, and we're going to be turning our attention to it relatively soon. It's going to happen after integrated voice chat. But we are looking at that an ongoing effort. One of the things that we can say is that we do plan on providing some updates. We're not going to tell you what they are yet, but they're going to happen before the train engine gets a revamp. But sometime after that, we are going to have a complete terrain redesign. The reason we're doing that is because we're not going to stick on this engine. This engine is going to go bye-bye in the future, and it'll be the next big effort. And one thing that we would like to be able to see go into the game is some form of dynamic terrain. So we're going to have a terrain redesign that incorporates some form of dynamic changes, and that's going to be a stage that takes us to our new engine, which we can't promise at what point in time that's going to happen. We hope that we'll be able to start on it by the end of this year, but you know, things happen, plans change. So, but that currently that is our goal. We believe Unreal is the best fit for World War II Online for a variety of reasons. All the new models that are being worked on now are ready for Unreal. That there will be no changes needed for any of the new models that are being generated. Obviously, you won't see the benefit of that in the game now. Just from a performance standpoint, we won't enable those levels of detail. But in general, in order for us to get to Unreal, we're going to be taking an incremental approach. There are a lot of modules that are associated with the engine that need to be redesigned so that we can plug in to a new off-the-shelf engine. So there's going to be a lot of redesign going on that is going to be able to work in concert with not only Unreal, but other engines as well, because who knows what the landscape's going to look like by the end of next year, and we don't necessarily want to be tied to Unreal. Like I said earlier, this is going to be post-terrain. So just leaving at the end here, I'd like to say that we are always on the lookout for talent. If you know somebody or are somebody who has some skills in the C++ world, or even Java, we'd like to hear from you, especially if you're a player. That's a good experience that we could have on the team. So email me if you think you do or know someone that would be interested. And that's all I've got.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Make sure you cancel your screen share.
Yeah, where
Just to see what you're doing.
Where the heck do I do that?
I
think I got it.
You need to click the Zoom icon.
I got it. Hold on. Right there.
Boom. Okay. You almost gave away our secrets. What are you doing? I'm kidding. Waiver, the QA team is up. You ready?
Yep, 1 second.
Okay. And then after that will be marketing stuff. So go ahead.
Just sit tight while I pull up the slide. It's somewhere here. All right. Can everybody see?
Yep.
Perfecto. All right. So the quality assurance slide is pretty brief. This is more going to be educational. I don't want to waste you guys' time because I know that there's plenty of other juicy stuff you want to see. All right. So the QA team. Quality assurance team, or QA, ensures that all new development receives an initial hands-on look prior to distributing to the end users. That's you guys. They'll test, report, and advise the team on anything that will negatively affect the user's experience. So what is the QA team made up of? Well, it starts with Alpha Team. So Alpha Team is a small volunteer team consisting of members from the community. For the most part, they're frequently found in the testing and bug reporting forums. Their primary mission, assist with high-level testing, bug reporting, as well as tracking. Test and review all alpha-level test clients as provided by production and development teams prior to release candidate testing.
You got real quiet.
Can you hear me now?
That's better.
All right. In addition to this, they review and monitor the .bug reports daily and assist in the verification of trending issues. So all those .bugs that everybody sends in, the Alpha team sees on a daily basis. In addition to this, they document reproducible errors, scenarios for both the development and production teams. Their secondary mission is to assist with collecting community feedback, as well as with general troubleshooting and community technical support, both in-game and out. That's why a lot of the guys in the forums that are on the alpha team actually have little alpha team tags. And you can see this most of the time when they post in the forums and reply to threads. Alpha team, right now their identities are well known. Myself, Old Zeke, Tandle, James 10, and Carbone. In addition to the alpha team, we recently organized a beta team. Currently, it's a 25-member volunteer team with a pretty diverse geographical makeup. They're from all over. They're community veterans from both sides of the game. Their primary mission, to assist with release candidate testing prior to public release, as well as provide unfiltered real-time feedback to the team. Their secondary mission is to help contribute to the research of historical documentation and references. In addition, they assist with identifying bugs and issues and reproduce during open testing sessions together as a team. The identities of beta team are classified top secret. The main reason that we do this is so everything can get funneled through the alpha team. We don't have a whole bunch of beta team members that are constantly asked questions or bothered in game. So one of the tools that we rely on heavily is .bug. And .bug is an in-game command, and it's similar to .report. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what we use .bug for and what you should use it for, and this is how you can really help the quality assurance team. So we see everything you guys put in. So the intended purpose is to generate reporting as well as detailed information for CRS to gather feedback relating to game bugs. Some examples include client-side bugs, damage models, terrain issues, game client crashes, graphics glitches, exploits, gameplay anomalies, sound bugs, user interface issues, and more. Server issues. Examples include kill scoring, spawning issues, issues with brigade movements, issues with mission creation, RDP, AWS, the air warning system, disconnections, and more. Here's what it's not intended for. It's not intended for reporting issues with other players. That should stick to .report. It's also really not intended to report other players with lag, although you should feel free to .bug yourself if you're noticing increased lag on your local machine. We also ask that you don't use it to send in accusatory reports or profane or inflammatory feedback. In addition to .bug, we also have the Testing and Bug Reporting Forum. The Testing and Bug Reporting Forum is a repository for reports from pre-release testing whenever we do public open betas, as well as live game bugs. And that's really the bulk of how you can assist with quality assurance. In addition to that, we're still looking for volunteers for the beta team. All you have to do is go fill out a short application, worldwar2online.com/join-beta, and we'll take a look at it, review it, and let you know if you're approved.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So Dagger is our marketing lead. He is at college right now, so he's asked me to go through his presentation he prepared for you all. So here we go. The marketing team is responsible for all PR activity and or all marketing and sales initiatives. This includes data and analytics. We want to know who's coming through the door. We want to know how we can convert that user and better understand people that are interested in our product. So a lot of that has been taking place, especially with Steam. Social media, you've seen over the last probably 6 to 8 months, a massive shift and improvement in social media presence, both on Facebook as well as Twitter. Those are the primary ones that we emphasize. And they've done a fantastic job, including adding schedules and such that there's a constant pipeline to maintain users' interest, and the data speaks for itself. They're also very heavily focused on the Steam store and community pages relating to Steam. There's a big community there, and we're seeing about 4 times the current traffic in terms of how many users are landing on our Steam store, and we're just in the coming soon stage right now. So That's going to be very interesting. And of course, there's many other content distribution channels. They're responsible for really all outward facing communication to engage new users and entertain existing users. So here's the recent headlines. The Steam store page was launched on May 19th, so about 8 days ago, and it's listed in the upcoming for our anticipated launch. The upcoming section on Steam and the store page to the left. Our anticipated launch is summer of 2017. I told you earlier, probably within the next couple of months. We feel really strongly about that. So launching the store page opened access to the ability for users on Steam to add World War II Online to their Steam wish list. And that's really unique because once you add it to your wish list, as soon as we launch an early access, people will be notified directly. Then when we release full release, they'll be notified again. This also includes all of the users who on our Greenlight page voted for us, favorited, and followed us. So lots of organic capabilities there that systematically take place. That's really awesome. So our official World War II Online Steam group, in just over 1 week of being live, has already accrued 1,000 users to our group, which is really exciting. These are people who said, I want to be aware of all the activity and become, quote unquote, part of that Steam community. That's just in under a week. That's really cool. And we haven't even officially released the game. So those good feels are out there. The Steam Community Hub is really awesome because it allows users to share information. It also has forums, which is getting really lively. And there's a lot of good communication taking place. You know, we've read in our forums a lot of users saying, oh, we're not so sure how Steam users are going to take it. Well, they're not exactly in the game yet, so that's still a subject of debate. But we've been working very hard. Myself and Dagger, as well as the rest of the marketing team, have spent excruciating hours just making sure that we're not overselling or incorrectly, describing what our game is. We are very much focused on trying to get users that are going to work well here, and therefore we've presented the game in such a way that is going to appeal to the niche that we serve. So let's see here. Okay, so this is what it looks like on our official group page. You'll see this number is actually higher than what it is right now. It's about 1,050 last I checked about an hour ago. When someone goes to our Steam community area to join our group, this is what it looks like. And that shows 135 are guys are in game and 349 are online. These Steam, they could be playing other games. But again, that is going to continue to rise, especially as we go into further release modes, early access and full release. We're really excited to see how that takes place. But you can see down here, we'll be able to make announcements. And then at the upper right, there is kind of a mailbox notification. Every time we do an announcement, anyone who's a part of this group, so 1,000 users, boom, that automatically transmits to them. So it's really nice how Steam has allowed us to do things. And that also includes scheduling events and things like that. So very cool stuff. This is another example of the community hub here for World War II Online. You won't be able to see hub admin, obviously. But it really kind of cool. I'm very impressed with this. It displays the information and also screenshots. There's all these other links here at the top. Some of them, like screenshots and artwork, are kind of empty at the moment. This place is going to fill up more so as we get into early access, and their users show up, and we'll also get reviews at that time as well. So if you're a Steam user, you should really feel free to add content to that community hub. To do that, you're going to have to join the community and do that. And if you already have screenshots out there, we're very much like, put the best screenshots you have, throw them up there. That would be really cool, and that will get more people interested and engaged with what's going on. So there's some easy ways to stay up to date with everything that's happening here at World War II Online. Of course, we have our Facebook. You can just type in @Battleground Europe. I would like to make that World War II Online, but somebody else already took that, so there you go. We use this very heavily. Of course, you saw Twitter as well, @Corner Rats. We also have a Reddit page, and that's been picking up quite a bit. Our guys, our new marketing team, really has been doing a phenomenal job in just increasing that exposure, and they've been learning a lot as well. So we're looking for some more folks for the marketing team, by the way. It's very busy, and especially as we get to Steam, it's getting crazy. So if you're good at creating content, which is in this form, creating really compelling writings or engaging posts, something like that, contact us. If you're good at taking screenshots, and that might sound silly, but you need to have a certain eye for that. Or if you're a video type guy, we're definitely interested in that. And then translators. This is a big one, actually, especially with Steam. right now we're seeing only 28.75% of all users going to our Steam page are actually from the US. Everyone else is international, and that's really exciting. And we've even seen Thailand in the top 10, and Russia is number 2, and that's in terms of where people are coming from. It's kind of wild. So we're definitely going to need some more translators, and they will be part of the marketing team, lots of localization. And that also includes our clients and such. So marketing and PR experience is a plus, but it's not necessary. We can teach you some things, and we're all here for the love of the game. All these guys are volunteers and part of the community, and you don't have to be a brainiac in order to help out in a big way. So seriously, if you are interested, email rsnell@playnet.com. You can see that email right here. You want to include a little bit about yourself, particularly your game name and anything about you relating to the game. So this is actually, his call sign is Dagger. You can message him in the forums if you prefer, but I think he would like that. Okay, so that's going to conclude that presentation. Let's see who's next. I believe should be community development. Sniper, you ready? It is you, Sniper, so whenever you're ready, take it.
All right, so this is community development. We fall under the dev team, but we're more geared toward dealing with the community sites and community services as a whole, rather than the client or the host side of the game. Still feel that it's an important piece of the puzzle, because there is a wide variety of services that we do provide to the player base. And we'll go to the next one. Basically said the same thing. Everything that runs from the web map, the Gazette, wiretap, stats, squad management from outside the game, account management, which will be a soon upcoming release, and of course the main website. We're a small team, but we are current players of the game, previous players of the game, and we have room to grow. From there, within the last year, different areas that we've dealt with or improved our squad tools, gave squad leaders the ability to not only manage their squads, but also catalog what happens within their squad management as a whole. That allows things to be done from a squad perspective during intermission, outside the game, so you don't have to readily be available, and inside the game to make changes. There's bulk edits and things like that, which make large changes a lot easier. Internal tools, we worked on some of that. The game website, of course, was just recently done and released last couple months. That was the big improvement from what we had, almost a 10-year-old website system architecture that really needed to be upgraded. And the cool thing is we didn't have to start from scratch. We were able to transfer all of the previous website data and convert that into the newer modern data. So what that allows us to do as a whole is SEO, search engine optimization. So if somebody goes out there and Googles World War II Online, and they find an old link to the old website, let's say an article, that link will automatically be recognized and updated and redirected to the new site's location. So that means that was a big advantage to the migration of data rather than starting from scratch. One of the closing up projects here, hopefully this month, will be the account management website. That's the one that's there in the center. I'm sure everybody's dealt with the account management site as it currently is. It, again, is an outdated system, both on the front and back end side of the house. So it'll be a big positive to bring that into the 21st century and keep it in line with the rest of the community projects. It'll also allow for a little bit better management of subscriptions or the signing up of new players. And from there, the game's wiki site has been updated the last month or so. B2K has been working on that one, going through, kind of changed around the way the homepage is laid out to make it a little bit easier for new players to find information. He's went through from the front to the back in regards to how a new player would view the wiki. What areas would they first look at when they join the game? Are those areas up to date, and are the new weapons, are the new PPOs all represented properly? So he's done a good job on that, and also the player base has also been helping on that. So there's a few good players out there that stepped up and have been running through their pages the last couple months. So it really helps the team out as a whole when the players can help with that. Future projects, we're looking at, our plate's pretty full. HC tools, that's going to be getting revamped here pretty soon to get in line with modernization, just like all the other stuff. It's currently pretty old and kind of clunky. We're going to take it and rework it from the ground up, which brings it into the 21st century, but also allows for us the ability to tweak it whenever HC advancements come down the road. We'll be able to tweak it in a way that we can either disable, enable certain features, or grow the population of the HC staff themselves and have an appropriate response to that growth. Internal game management modernization just goes in line with more internal tools that we use on the back end of things to run the game. Steam stats and achievements. We just heard about all the great work that's being done on the Steam's portal and their community hub, and Steam stats and achievements will play a part in that. We've already ran through and created pretty long lists of both stats and achievements and how they pertain to both the current organic community, which is us, and the future Steam players. So once we made that information, what we'll be able to do is get a little bit more detailed with it, and then work directly with the development team to integrate those stats and achievements into the game. And once that's complete, they'll be able to show up on your personal community hub page or on the hub itself. From there, we'll be talking about revamping the stat site. The stat site got revamped around the 2010 timeframe, but we're looking at bringing it in line with all the rest of the architecture that we're currently using on the new sites. That'll allow for much easier management, and also it'll have a multitude of bug fixes that I know the community is up about and on top of. So that'll be a good thing. And also we'll be looking into how we can revamp the achievement system. So we'll be able to utilize the work that we did on Steam stats and achievement and tie that into the actual game systems and achievements on the stats page itself. So it's looking good. Of course, we've got Wiretap, which is, as some people know, the public data that the game is able to publish, where players can take that data and either use it within their own services. There's been other web maps made. There have been stats trackers made. We've got Battleground Europe Monitor that's very popular. Those are all based off of Wiretap. And the idea of the rework for Wiretap will eventually be to turn it into a newer, modern system that allows for easier access and quicker access to information. Also, we'll be looking into what information are we currently not publishing to the public that we could publish to the public. So it's looking like a busy next few years. We've got our hands full, and we're looking forward to it. of course, with all of this, we're keeping all the other sites maintained. So as bugs pop up, we'll be taking those out left and right, just like with the Gazette and their Baghdad Bob. That's about it for the community development team. If you're a web developer or vetted in working with PHP, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, those are all the areas that we work in. And just shoot us an email. We'll go from there, and hopefully we'll make you part of the team. Thanks.
All right, good stuff. Ohm, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're up next. Go ahead.
I just want to say, isn't this the most exciting stuff? I remember previous rat chats, and it's like 3 or 4 rats, and that's about it. We just chatted it up. A bunch of presentations going like crazy here. Let's see if I can do this sharing thing correctly here. All right. Can you see the slides? Share.
There you go.
All right. All right, community management. This is primarily where we deal with the public, with the players directly. We have the assistant game managers, and we have game moderators, and forum moderators, a support team, and I did forget the comms team, you know, for Discord and stuff like that. All right. Assistant game managers. These are the direct contact to CRS for high command and the players for their respective sides. And they are KMS for the Axis and Coyote for the Allied. Waiver floats in there, helps the Allied side out, but he's moved more to Q&A. So some of you guys that have worked with Waiver before in the past, you want to really go with Coyote on the Allied side. The high command is the backbone of the game here. No matter what happens with brigades, having brigades, no brigades, whatever, we're still going to need in-game leaders to lead your respective side and the players into battle. You still have to have strategy no matter what, planning and organization of attacks, and even defense, you know, getting your units out to defend the towns and stuff like that. So the more officers in your bat, the easier it is for the entire side on either side of the game. There's less stressful when there's more helping out. I remember back when we had lots of players being in high command, and they had fun doing it. With Steam coming, you know, now's the time to get in, get your battle comms on, and be ready for when we have a lot more players coming into this game. So they're going to need you. Game moderators. The leaders of the game moderators here, Briar Bear and JDC04, they take care of the team and manage that team. Those team members are kept secret, and they are instructed never to respond to any reports because we don't want to accidentally blow their cover. The dot report is what the game monitors look at. They see that when it comes across, and it also gets saved, and we look at it, you know, each day and review them to find out what's the issues going on. You know, sometimes we get reports where it just blurts out a player's name. It doesn't say why. We need information. Information is the key for us to find out what's going on. You know, if it's you have trouble with a player, put in their name, what the issue is, or if it's, high command is not responding to you, a player's warping, anything that has to do with direct contact with other players in the game. And that's what they are here for. So they're always recruiting too. You know, they need more. They constantly need coverage all the time. We have tools for them to use. We're not going to go into what type of tools because we don't want to give our secrets away. But they have in-game tools, outside game tools. They work together very well. They're out there looking for game hackers, people abusing one another. We don't allow that, and they take care of it. They do, ban some players. Unfortunately, it's the ugly part of the game, and it it happens, and they do catch them. But it doesn't happen right away sometimes because we have to document everything we do, because when we ban somebody, it's for the life of the game. We have to make sure we are 100% correct, because we don't want them coming back, screaming lawyers and all that. We gather evidence, we put it together, and if we have to, we show it to them. We tell them what they did wrong. Sometimes they admit to it and they become a model citizen in the community. Sometimes they continue they continue to keep on doing the bad stuff, and they end up eventually going away. And we don't announce that. So you just one day won't see them anymore. And that's what happens. So if you've been in the game for a while, knows how it works, and you want to help out and you have a clean record and you haven't been an issue, the agm@playnet.com is where you send your email, and we could use more help always. Let's see, roll down next one here. There's some, like I said, we have statistics that we go by. Pretty much right here you see where the reporting is pretty much equal for both sides. So it's not like one side's getting more than the other. So everybody's reporting just about the same amount. So it's no bias on that. So now we move, let's see, forum mods. Jevon Paul is the lead forum mod there. We're always looking for more mods. Yes, commie mods. We need commie mods. Basically, make sure police and nobody's attacking each other. That's basically it. We don't want it to be a hate fest in the forums, and we just need to keep it police. It's been good, but I've seen it over the years get really bad, and it's really good now. We're looking for. Jevon Paul wants to put a new team together. It's not a moderator team. What it is, it's a team that knows how to help other players, especially in the support areas. They're looking for how to set up the joystick. You may know where that answer is in the forums. You put the link right there for them. Or it's something you say, no, that's best to the support team. You're helping the fellow player out to enjoy the game better. So that is the team we're looking for. There's a few out there that do it naturally all the time, and we appreciate what you do, but we're just looking to put together a team this way. You can share information on how to help other players in the forums. So that's what we're looking for there. Okay, now I said the support team. We have support at WWII.com. This support team is Company O Adrian, and I help out also. Sometimes Zoom helps out, but he's too busy and we do not get count on him to help. You get that little help thing anywhere on our website, that little blue icon that's floating around. You click on that. We see the ticket come in. You can go to the website I just mentioned, and it'll bring you to here. So there's some canned answers for how to be a hero builder, accounts and billing, technical issues. There's some fast answers there. And if you can't find your answer there, you can submit the report up here, a request right here. After you sign in, you have to give us your information, what's your in-game name, email, what the problem is. Sometimes we don't get that when we have to play email tag back and forth. We're on it. We answer these emails usually within a few hours. There's only a handful of us, but we do the best we can. And if we don't know the answer off the top of our hands, we got the dev team, the coders, network guys to help out and get the players in the game. Somebody that's having trouble in the game, send them there. If you don't have the answer, send them on, tell them in the forums. It's the best way, especially with Steam coming. They're going to need a lot more help. Our game is complicated. Sometimes it's just how to make the screen the right size, or how to select something inside the preference tab. So, the more you send them here, the better off we can help them, because we could dig in and use a lot more tools. And sometimes it's private. People don't want to ask in the forums. That's pretty much it for the community team, other than it's ice cream time for me. I'm all done. Let me stop my share.
Ice cream. Okay. I just saw Waiver. Waiver, this is your chance to bring that up. Go ahead.
All right. I just wanted to make everyone aware that we still have one more presentation from the production team. That'll be from Hatch. I believe Zoom had something he wanted to talk about real quick as well. Once we conclude the production team presentation, I think Zoom also has another treat for everybody, and then we'll move to the QA portion of today's Rat Chat. Once we move to today's QA portion of the Rat Chat, within Zoom meeting, you'll be able to select the Q&A button and then type and submit your question and join the question queue to have it answered live. And with that, I'll turn things back over to Zoom.
Okay. Thanks for showing that. There is a big elephant in the room that was not addressed earlier, and I'm glad somebody mentioned it. I foresee that it will be brought up during as part of our live QA. So again, as you heard, we're about to go to Hatch with the production team update, but I would just want to get this out of the way. We will not be releasing 136 as part of our initial rollout on Steam. The reason that we are not doing that, well, there's several. The UI was not where it needed to be. Our initial QA process was good, but the functionality is in place. It's temporarily on hold as we prepare to get more players into our game through the Steam portal. So, again, we'll be launching on early access with what we have and how the brigade system currently is. A lot of conversation took place about that, and we simply just ran out of time to do it correctly. It's very important that whatever it is that we do it well and we do it better. And that is the reason we held off. That is something we can discuss later. There's a lot more good stuff coming up that is taking place. You're hearing all this wonderful news. I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. So there you go. Hatch, I'm going to turn it over to you for the production update.
Hello, everybody. Can y'all see my screen yet?
Yep.
Okay, so production. A lot of irons in the fire here. We've got an ordnance audit going on that has to do with basically everything that hits anything else, whether it's just flying kinetic energy like a bullet, or fragmentation from a bomb. I mean, it's all sort of kinetic, but
Hatch, I'm sorry,
anyways.
they're saying you're coming in a little bit low.
Okay, is that any better?
Much better.
Hello? Okay. So, so as I mentioned, we got a high explosive audit, kinetic energy audit, where that's going to follow into an armor audit after all of the projectiles and stuff are done. We've got a few new weapons that are in development. Then we have our art and animation stuff, kind of the pieces to this. Specifically, I'm going to be showing you some infantry stuff at this time, and then our vehicle production. So, so ordnance and ballistics. Okay, as it's always been, we always used original ammunition specifications. Scotsman is a really great person to have on board with this. He has years of experience in the field for the as a defense contractor for the government. So he has a lot of data, and it's great having him go back over what we did originally, and to verify things, make sure everything's doing what it's supposed to do. He's gone through and finished all the high explosives so far. As you see, the fragmentation normalized for all rounds. Made a couple adjustments to, with a client that's limited to a certain amount of fragmentations, instead of wasting frags on pieces that don't really do anything, he put them to a minimum of 1 gram fragments. And that'll make a big difference in the old HE type setup. When new HE comes, which should be shortly as well, then we'll be able to actually generate all of the fragments up to like 100,000 or 200,000 frags. So we can lower the minimum size, and you'll get, which will basically generate a lot more along the spectrum of a wound, whether, you know, you bleed out slower or whatever. It just gives you more fidelity there. Again, explosive ordnance audited the bombs, heat, and HE, improved fragmentations for everything up to current client support limit. That's old HE. When new HE comes in, which is what he's calling further code here, as you see there, upper fragment limit in excess of 100,000 fragments. Grenades have been audited. Everything has been audited. Again, as some folks have mentioned before, we built this game originally running on Pentium 3 processors at 1,000 gigahertz, single core. And so we had to, even though we have the proper ballistics and kinetic energy formulas and everything in there, we had to lower some of our fragmentation counts, etc., just so every time someone threw a grenade or dropped a bomb, you didn't just freeze up your game. So anyways, times we've gone a long way since then, and this audit is going to show that. New weapons, while he was at it, new weapons that have been completed and will be incorporated as we can get to them with their new either new rides or whatever that might use it, is the Stug 105 millimeter, British sheet tanks, 3-inch howitzers, Matilda A13 Crusader, the HE Smoke, Churchill 95 millimeter HE and heat, Churchill AVRE, rockets, bomb inventory on all sides, all Italian air ordnance, Sherman 75 heat, Sherman Churchill 75 Willie Pete. I'll get into that in a minute. And German 75 millimeter smoke, and 37 millimeter and 50 millimeter steel granat. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but there you go. As I was mentioned earlier, like on the left side, that is, I'm not sure which bomb that was, but you can see you would expect more fragmentation from an explosion. So that's probably, I'm going to guess, probably 400 or so fragmentations, and you have the total mass of the bomb, but you have that total mass divided by whatever, however many frags that you can allow. Obviously, on the right-hand side, that's like thousands. Probably on the I'm trying to think, our HE limit or something, that's several thousand fragmentation particles, as you can see there. The new HE does away with drawing every fragment, and it basically says, okay, there's this many fragments have been generated. There's XYZ people or targets within range, and I'm going to throw this many at that target. So we can basically do all of them and only generate what we need to do the job. The kinetic audit is basically everything to do with a shell flying through the air, hitting something, and penetration of that. Well, I'm going to let him speak for himself. He wrote, the data has been calculated up to 5,000 meters. If I remember right, at the moment, our current limitation for droning, seeing things is actually 3,000 meters. So we're ahead of the game there. Improved drag functionality. That's the ballistic coefficient, and as he mentioned earlier, missing missing ammunition has been being added to new types of weapons, canister, etc. That's part of our next inroads here. And what I meant when we talked about kinetics here a minute ago, like if you can see this little brown line right here, that's the line coming in to the front of a panhard. It hits the armor, which is a historical thickness, and then you get a spall, that splashback spall basically, or splashback here, and then the yellow on the other side, that's all spall inside of the tank. Then as you can see, the round travels about to here before the fuse goes off, and it actually blows up, and that's where you see your red rays here. And so that's the kinetic energy. It takes care of the air resistance in flight to get the correct ballistic coefficient or flight speed and time. And then you have a penetration coefficient whenever you hit your whatever it is you're going to hit, whether it's person, armor, whatever. And then you have your timings and all that stuff according to the historical setups of that particular round. The armor audit coming up after the kinetic audit, which is we're in the middle of the kinetic KE audit right now. That basically is just double checking all historical sets. We're also adding some more fidelity to our armor model, such as the multiple plates. We had the correct thickness in multiple plate armor before, but we didn't have the actual mechanics of how that works. So you might have, I'm not going to go into too many details there. We can answer that in questions if you need to, but there's quite a bit of difference in just the thickness of the armor and two different plates of armor and like an airspace in between. Post-impact projectile yaw, that's a good indicator of what I'm talking about there. Anyways, so this is what the armor audit, which is going to follow up after the kinetic energy. And the armor audit is going to go over every vehicle, everything in the game, including we're going to relook at our aircraft skins and internal components. It's basically everything that gets hit. A new thing that's been added is we're working on adding smoke rounds to the different vehicles. Here's an example of 75 millimeter smoke with our current resources that we have. We still need a few tweaks there, basically volume and timing, but good stuff coming. And another thing is a sort of a Willie Pete type ammunition, which basically it wounds rather than kills outright. In most cases, depending on distance and so on, I'm not going to go into too many details on it, but the long short of it's going to be real smoky and it's going to suck. It's going to slow you down, affect your vision, all that good stuff. Vision, I should say. And then the new toys that we also have working. So we've got some new Italian trooper coming in, and some new U.S. paratrooper art. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to a screenshot sort of presentation following this. I didn't get them in my my PowerPoint, so I'll throw up some trooper stuff. This paratrooper art I saw that Zoom, I didn't know he was going to talk about it, so I'll throw up a few pictures and he can do it, or he can take the screen and then I'll get to the rest of mine presentation. Zoom, you around on that?
Nope, don't show it. Don't show it. I've got new stuff. Nope.
I'm not anymore.
Abort.
Did I stop the screen?
You did.
Okay, it's all yours now. Then we'll go.
Okay. All right.
I was ready, man.
Yeah, you were. You were ready to go. That's fantastic. All right. Well, I'll hop in here for a second. I was gonna wait till the end, but there's other cool stuff to look at too. So let me just get prepared. 1 second.
Caught you a little off guard there, eh?
A little bit. I've got it. Okay, guys, what you're gonna see here, and I'm just gonna pause for effect until I show this. Everyone, if you're alt-tabbed, go look at the screen. This is gonna be phenomenal. What you're about to see is what Cornerat Software is doing to prepare future art to make it available for World War II Online, which means we have to dumb it down a little bit in terms it can't be AAA quality, but also what we're doing to better and create future generation art at the same time. So everything's being prepared for what's going to be happening next. So without further ado, here you go. So let's talk about this really quickly. First, let's verify you can see that, right? It's beautiful.
Yep.
It's huge. Okay. I'm going to get hit for that later. So this is what the new U.S. paratrooper is going to look like. Now, it's very, very important to understand that it's not going to go into World War II Online as it is today to look like this. It's going to have to be brought down a little bit, if not quite a bit in some cases, in terms of this polygon count, the textures. We'll let the artist figure out exactly how he's going to handle that. And we were very sure to add something down here that says Unreal Engine. These are in-engine art. This is in-engine art. This was not rendered in another program or anything like that. Okay, so can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, I had a phone call and I'm just trying to make sure that didn't screw me up. So anyway, really, really awesome. The artist wanted me to say what current variants of the paratrooper include several variants of the helmet, netting, scrim, as well as the helmet decals, such as the iconic spade, for example, as well as variants of facial camo. The paratrooper will, of course, have a parachute equipped before the plane boarding. Okay, so we've got something else here for you to see. Can you guys see that other paratrooper now? Can you or no?
Same one.
Okay, just a second. Okay, this should be changing now. Now do you see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thanks for being patient. So within the Unreal Engine, we can have more equipment and open up options for much more accurate kit representation based on their class. And a new decal system would also be implemented, which could look to visually portray player game rank, player brigade, and perhaps custom squad decals. So this is something we want to do. Let's see. I've got a couple more, so just bear with me as I'm clicking around. Okay, there's that one. Higher resolution textures will help capture more detail than previously possible. Functions within the engine would also have a host of options for us to look at, including effects for things like dirt, water, wetness, and bloody impact wounds. And I have just one more to share with you. With the face textures now handled as their own separate material, we will again have the feature of randomized, perhaps even custom faces in-game. Faces could see camo for elite paratrooper units, dirt and stubble for veteran ranks, and fresh faces for those a little newer. What Unreal would also offer, apart from the obvious visual benefits, is a return of the mission leader and with luck, the high command uniforms as well. So that concludes what I have to show. It's pretty phenomenal. Hatch, did you want to comment on any of this, or you want me to hand it back over?
No, that you just give him props. He's doing awesome work there. It's looking really awesome.
Yeah. Okay, we'll hand it back over. Up to you.
All righty. And here comes some of the artwork that Sad Guy is working on that is also ties into some of the new stuff that basically going in the bank. Here's a new pineapple. This is some more. Let's see where. Okay. I was expecting a bomb here, but we'll get to that. This is the FG42. There's we're also doing some animation rework. Dragonov's doing a great job here. This one is actually affixed to the bore sight. And let's see here, yeah. The FG42, and this is the M3 grease gun. You'll notice the just a better sight picture, and it's centered in the middle of the screen. There's a big thread about it in the forums there if anybody wants to get some details. And Dragonov's posted in there so he can answer any questions you might have about specifics on that. There's the new AN64 or M64 500-pound general purpose bomb for the Americans. We have the Germans have the SC250HE. The French have the F200, and here come the Americans with their first big boom into the game. Nice work there, sad guy. And this is the French P39. Pretty much looks like the other one, except for you can see the barrel has the 37 millimeter instead of the 20. And then here's the American version. And here is the first of the tank busters. This one's the Hurricane Mark II-D with the Vickers S gun, 40 millimeter tank killer underneath there. Ought to be a pretty mean ride. And then the JU87 G2. This is a close-up of those MG81Zs, the dual, much faster firing defensive armament. That was a development shot, so disregard the ammo load. This is the new guns that Sad Guy put in there for your tail gunner, and you can see the armor plate around the gun. And that's what your sight picture looks like. And there's that's it in the air. Throwing some, I would say throwing big chunks of lead. Let's just leave it at that. Or not lead, actually, steel. But you can see the smoke following, and there's a couple of them in there. And this is a sight picture coming in on some tanks. Now this isn't the, I should have wrote it down. There's a special type for this particular gun that is, we have modeled, but I'm not using it in these pictures. These are actually an armor piercing high explosive. Then we get to our self-propelled anti-aircraft. And that's the SCKFZ 72. We're instead of the 37, we're using a 40 millimeter temporarily so everyone can get one in. And then when we get to that gun, we'll model that and swap it out. But the Germans did use this gun for anti-aircraft, and so it's a convenient match to get everybody some mobile anti-aircraft, big caliber. And it's driving along, running over J-turn. And here's your Crusader that the Allies will share. It's also the 40 millimeter. The Bofors. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope as we transition over to the the question and answer phase, that you guys can see a very clear picture that Corner Software is absolutely dedicated to improving the game. I'm very excited about this, and I've read a lot of positive comments how folks are responding to this Rat Chat. We did tell you that this would be the most interactive Rat Chat that you've ever seen, and I hope that we've lived up to that. Someone had asked the question, is this going to be kind of what it's going to look like as we move forward? The answer to that is absolutely yes. I know that it's taken almost an hour and a half worth of time to get to this open session where you can answer questions, but truth be told, there was a lot of valuable information for you guys to be aware of. Now, we have 47 people at Corner Software working on this game. 47 people. We've come leaps and bounds, and with your support, we can continue to do more. So we hope that we can continue to earn your confidence and maintain your subscription. And if you feel up to it, you want to support this further, become a hero builder. I hope that you guys really like what we've done here. These guys are that represent Corner Software, my colleagues, are fantastic people. They are working absolutely hard. Most of them are volunteering, and all for the love of the game. With that being said, we're now going to transition over to our question and answer phase. Waiver, if you can help me with this, and maybe Ohm, I would very much appreciate that.
All right. Everybody should see on their screen to ask a question. All that you have to do in Zoom meeting is hit the Q&A button and then type and submit your question, and you'll join the queue. What we'll be doing is we get a live stream of the questions as they come in, and we'll go through and answer them live to the best of our abilities. And then once they're answered, other panelists will actually have the ability to put a secondary answer on them via text. So it looks like Ohm, Zoom, can you both see the Q&A window?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll let you guys decide where you want to start. And you should just be able to hit answer live, and it should bring it up.
Okay.
They can't see it if you're trying to bring it on the presentation, though.
Yeah, I think what we'll need to do here is read it out and then try and answer it really quickly.
That works.
There's a lot of stuff coming in. We'll start at the top. So the first question is, what is going to be done? This is from Wildcat382. He says, what's going to be done about side switchers where they are on one side and then 15 minutes later they're on another? I'll answer that really quickly. Basically, we have it set up so that people can help move over to the other side, so that if one side is overpopulated, that helps with the balancing mechanism. So in terms of fixing this, I think I'm not sure what you're asking, but I think that's worth discussing. You know, I think game balance is really critical, obviously, but it's something that we need to be very careful with. We want to allow people freedom of movement. Certainly if they're a paying subscriber, that's very important for us. And it works to our benefit to improve the game overall, to allow people to shift both sides. You know, we don't have those typical balancing mechanisms where it's like, oh, sorry, the server currently has a 10% imbalance. You've been forcibly moved and then can no longer play with your squad or do what you want. So we have to kind of find a middle ground that works for World War II Online. So next question. Blackhawk 8 asks, what are the plans to discourage side switching for the use of advantages or even using two accounts on both sides for spying? Basically, what we're doing is we're working to create some countermeasures that can handle that, particularly alerting the GM team when, I want to be careful not to provide too much information, but when we'll be able to read their hardware as well as their connection to say, hey, basically this guy is online and has two accounts playing simultaneously, and our GM team being alerted. Systematic type things are also being worked on as well. And he also asked how are hacking and cheats being prevented, as Steam users are known for trying to circumvent coding changes. Is Beer Bear here? Beer Bear, you are here. Can you answer that question, please?
Yes, I'm here. I think first one answered the question earlier already in a great way, and indeed, it's of course a major part to protect the game, and we are always looking into ways how to protect it, but of course won't get into detail because it would give an advantage to those who want to harm us.
Okay, very good. All right, Mike M asks, hey guys, what's the FPS range you're trying to achieve for players? And that's encompassing both organic and Steam users. I'm going to kick that off to Frisbo. I'm not sure if you have an amazing answer for that, but what are we aiming for?
I don't have a real great answer for that, but what I can say is that we clearly want it to be over 24 for sure. I mean, most people enjoy something much higher than that, but if you're under 24, it's probably something that you should explore with the CM team to see if they can help you out.
Okay, cool. I think that was General Odin, Gen Odin. What about the terrain that is in buildings and mismatch in the cities? This deals with using the bug function. So, Waver, how would you like stuff like that to be reported?
So your best bet is to, when you're there, especially if you're at the actual place in game, like the position in game and spawned into the game world where the issue is, if you do a .bug with a brief description of what the issue is, not only will we get the map coordinates, but we'll also be able to see the time with which it's occurred. That way we can, if we have to backtrace and see if there was any damage to that particular building, etc. So definitely .bug it.
Okay, cool. Andy asks, given the effects of warping / unkillable / invisible CPs, is there a viable strategy to have a strong and stable GM team 24/7 so that these issues can be dealt with as soon as they happen and not retroactively? Beer Bear, that's all you, man.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the GM core is made up of volunteers as well as a lot of teams within TS. And so there's no guarantee that you have people on 24/7. We try to do so. And as you have seen in the presentation, the GM core is looking for volunteers as well. So if you want to apply, just shoot us an email to agm@planet.com. And yeah, we will get it moving.
Okay, cool. Thanks. There are some more questions from both Andy and Mike M, but I'm going to move on to some other people just to make sure that we answer as many other folks' questions as possible. We have a lot of questions to answer here, so hang in there, everybody. Let's see. Eagle asks, is there a cap on a player's net speed in World War II Online so that a player comes in, say, with Fios, can't rule over the other players with a less connection? Frisbone, can you answer that?
I would say that in general, we want those with good connections to have as best advantage as they can, because your connection affects your FPS to a certain degree. So we definitely don't want to penalize people with good connections. But it is a good question. We'll take it on hand to look at in the future to see if there's anything that we need to balance.
Okay, great. Nate, Nader is his call sign, asks, when will you guys add the Italians? Hatch, I'm going to give that to you.
As soon as possible. Can't give you an exact date. Trying to get those vehicles wrapped up first, and as soon as I get done with those, then we'll get back on him.
Okay, cool. Let's move on. Let's see. Gorv, Ghorv, asks, will the new high explosive fragmentation model kill FPS in heavy battles? And follow-up question, will this be tested before Steam? Hatch, that's you again.
Yes, it's the long and short of it is that you should see no change whatsoever on your client. Again, as I mentioned before, when some of the older the older processors, when we first started, and I'm not even sure what they were the last time that they did an ammo audit. Your processors are generally a lot stronger these days. So between the cap on the old HE, which, as I mentioned before, that would be a fallback until new HE is designed to get the best functionality without hitting frame rate. And the other one, new HE, is should bring us into the real, actual defense contractor level realistic effects without you know without stumbling at all. I mean, the whole point is to only draw or only throw the fragments that need to be generated to do the damage instead of all of them. So there's quite a fundamental shift in that, if you're following functionality wise.
Dilem's asked, why would you confuse the Steam users with 136 and the removal of brigades and then going to reverting that decision? I'll answer that. Actually, I think we've determined collectively as a team, and certainly based on the things that we were seeing with our initial iteration of 136, we're going to be doing less of that confusion. And I think there are a lot of factors that went into deciding that. The UI was actually more complicated. It needed more work, no doubt. Here's the thing. We should expect thousands of new users are going to be entering World War II Online. And all of our veteran players, mostly you guys here, would be like trying to learn how to use this new system. We wouldn't have our in-game tutorials completed to support that. Our wiki, there's a lot of, and just the experience of knowing how to work in the brigade system. There's a lot of things, and then it being unknown. It's a risky proposition to do it so close, and so our confidence level was not where it needed to be to make that really happen. Now, does that mean 136 is never coming? No. It's still on the shelf. Once we get completed with our initial Steam requirements, and we get thousands of new players into the game and make it healthier, there is no doubt we are going to look at ways to continue to improve the strategic experience of World War II Online and doing what we can to simplify and ease the burden on existing officers. There's also been, both on the forums and also internally, a lot of discussion about how we can find sort of a middle ground. And those are options that need to be left on the table to consider. One thing you'll find with this new CRS team is that we will always, even when we're absolutely like, this is what we want to do, keep our ears close to the ground and listen to what you, the troops, are saying, so that we can all come out much more positive. We want to do what's right for the game. And we, while confident, about things generally speaking, and put our best foot forward, if we see something that's going to cause harm, we're going to put a freeze on that and reconsider. And that's kind of where we're at this particular moment. We simply are trying to get more users into the game via Steam and additional resources to fund the studio so it can perform better and get more done. And to do that, we have to meet certain timelines. And we need to make sure that the Steam user shows up to the best, most stable possible game as we can. And as you saw through all these other presentations, we're doing a lot in terms of content and preparations, both in the infrastructure and code base, to see that through. So I hope that answers many, many questions from folks about that. I'm going to share AO Mercy's question. And she said, when are you going to lower the ordnance of the Axis LMG? I know you guys realize that the gun is turned up too high, the reality of this type of gun. I'm sure the statistics show they're most times unkillable, depending on the situation. Hatch, that's production. I'm going to send it to you.
I'm not quite sure I followed the question. Turn down.
lower the ordinance of the Axis LMG? When are you guys going to lower the ordinance?
Lower the ordinance.
I'm not sure how to answer
I don't know what she's asking there. We're whatever is historical for that gun as far as the uh, fidelity of the actual rounds and the we're going to try to get as close to realistic, and the chips will fall where they do. If that, I mean, if it was low and it needs to go higher, then it would. If it's high and needs to go lower, then it would. I don't. I hope I covered all the bases with that.
To the best of our ability, I think that it does that. But also on that note, we will talk about LMGs for just a second. We've been talking about the ability for hip fire, and we're very much leaning towards possibly removing that. We're still considering it, listening to the community, and also weighing in, tactically speaking, in the war, how things actually performed. But there may be a possibility of the hip fire LMG capability going away and it just being a deployed weapon to fire only. Right, Hatch?
Yep.
Okay, so hopefully that answers a few questions. So Jim asks, great presentation. Is this typical quality of a rat chat, and is there more like this coming? I would say yes, more like this are coming. Is this the typical quality of a rat chat? By voice, yes, but what we've been able to achieve by presenting things and visibly showing folks has done, I believe, astronomical things in terms of gaining further comprehension and really showing folks visible progress. I think that's been really good. So more like this coming? Yes. Trevor 8 asks, any updates on server tracked objects so I can level bomb infantry and other targets from high altitude using carpet bombing formations? Question mark. Brisbane, you want to answer that?
I would say yes. It's an interest of ours. We have some roadblocks to get there, but it will come.
Okay, cool. Velcator, how will the transition to Steam be handled with current accounts? Do current subscribers have to still use a standalone launcher, or will it be integrated with Steam? I take it there's nothing we need to do now in order to prepare for this. To answer your question, any existing account currently in our database will not be transferable over to Steam. Those reasons are many, and it really boils down to the technical ramifications involved. You'll lose your historical statistics, your rank, everything associated with it, and or, of course, we'll make less money. So I don't know how else to say it gently, but so that's not going to be an option. If you have a current account with us, you're going to stay here. However, there is a middle ground. You can launch, and you can do this today even, a non-Steam game via your Steam launcher. That way you can still talk to your buddies on there and also share content. I do this, in fact. So figure out how to launch a non-Steam game. Go Google that, and then you'll be able to launch your World War II client through Steam today, in fact. Moonsnipe asked, when will we get civvies added to the game? We already have civvy sheep. We're probably not going to be focused on that. We don't see any real value in doing that, Moonsnipe. So, yeah, probably not going to happen. Kuro Naira, sorry, asks, I have missed the start of the reunion. Was anything said about vehicles, tanks, and that was the end of that question, I guess. Yes, we did talk about several new weapons inbound to World War II Online, and you can go on our Facebook page or YouTube. We will be uploading this after that and see what's going on. Jim asks, are motorcycles planned? Answer, not anytime soon, probably not. DM79 asked, if World War II Online fails on Steam, as it is right now, will that make moving towards Unreal unlikely? Great question. We have a high level of confidence, and we're being optimistic and also cautious about it, that we're going to do okay on Steam. The truth is, there's millions of users on Steam who have never heard about our game. We're not going to get millions. We're not aiming for that. We're aiming for hundreds, if not thousands. So we think that World War II Online is going to gain some traction. As we mentioned earlier, we have over 1,000 people already signed up to our group page. We're getting 4 times the amount of traffic showing up from impressions to click-throughs onto our Steam store page, and we don't even have the game up yet. So asking what that's going to be like, I think it's a little premature. We're working towards making Steam as big of a success as possible, and our mission is to move towards Unreal. Regardless, that is something we want to do. Okay. It looks like Vocal's answering someone's question. Robbie asked, will the sound effects quality be improved? It's a good question. Sorry, Frisbone, you're up.
Oh, I think that's a better question for Mr. Production Hatch.
Cool. Hatch, you're up.
Well, right now, I can't say that we have any specific changes for that in mind. However, you know, after we finish with our current audits to get the playability aspects fixed up, then you know, this is an all-encompassing effort. I mean, I wanted to mention something as well. What Zoom was talking about, the guy in the motorcycles. There's nothing that really we can't do. Well, I'm not going to say nothing, but there, you know, it's code. What it's not so much of what can and can't be done is what is the best game enhancing for the time that needs to be spent on developing it. Motorcycles, I've built. I've never had artwork for one, but I've built one before back in like 2004. And I don't know what happened to it, but you could hop on it and drive it around. So I mean, it's all possible. What we really want to focus on is a liaison between you guys and us that will start talking about some of these issues. You know, what are the biggest ones? Is motorcycles the most important thing that that we can spend our time on? You know, right now, as Zoom said, we are 46 or 47 strong, but we're also a large part volunteer. Until that changes, you know, time is precious. And so, you know, going back to sound, you know, there's definitely some anomalies I've noticed as well. And as we bring on more volunteers or we get some more full-time people involved, and determine that that's the next spot we need to focus our resources, that's pretty much how that'll be decided. Hope I got that covered.
Yep. All right, I'm going to ask someone else to start reading some questions. So, Waver or Ohm, take your pick.
I'll pick it up. We got Birdman 26 here. Will all these additions, such as the paras and new vehicles, be coming in the 1.36 update or before that or after that? And I think that's a question best answered by Zoom and probably Frisbone.
Yeah, I can take that. This new content in terms of vehicles, troopers, weapons, audits are unrelated and not dependent on 136. Our mission will be to deploy on Steam and then to provide new content to entertain not just those users, but what we're calling our organic channel, or all of you guys, our current customers. So it is not dependent on 136 and will be deployed when we determine it's fit and ready for deployment. Next. Bueller.
All right, I'll grab one then. Okay. How will you handle Danger Boy? How will you handle smoke spam when the WP is in game? What's to stop a PVLD just dropping smoke on a CP every 4.5 minutes so it's permanently smoked? Hatchet, I guess that might be you.
Well, I think first off, you're going to have your loadouts. You know, there's going to be limited amounts, I think. And then I don't know if that's going to be a problem right off the bat. I think what we'll probably do is see how you guys, you know, we'll put the proper rolls, excuse me, amounts or rounds to whatever vehicles or grenades or whatever. I mean, they have grenades right now, so the if it becomes an issue, we'll figure something out. But I don't, first we'll get it in there and see how it goes.
All right, can you guys hear me again? Perfect.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So we have, I'm just going to go down the list here. Marcus, I'm concerned about the infantry game. Many players still feel a lot of problems. Enemy kills you before you see them, etc. I feel this needs to be fixed. Are you working on it, and what is the problem? So I can tell you a little bit about this. So we introduced Netcode 3, and Netcode 3 is still being refined. And what Netcode 3 is the transition to UDP packets for infantry. And Frisbone can go into a little bit more detail, and even Pilot MC maybe, if he's here, as to what the plan is to kind of help with some of that lag and stuff. Frisbone, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm not going to go into any great detail on that. What Netcode 3 does essentially, like Waver just touched on, is it changes our strategy for transmitting things from a completely reliable method, TCP, to a UDP approach. It's not strictly, if you know anything about network, it's not strictly UDP. There's a lot more to it than that. But the focus is on timeliness of arrival, and packets have a chance of being dropped. That's the whole idea behind it. That, if it can't make it to its destination on time, you drop it, you wait for the next one. So that essentially, that is what is supposed to give us any added benefit for Netcode 3. It does seem to have improved things a bit. We're still collecting some data on that to see exactly how it has benefited, but we're also aware that it's going to hurt some people who actually benefit from the fact that we don't have a lot of the TCP approach actually is very forgiving. And whereas things look nice and smooth to you, if you have a bad connection, you actually look like the warping guy all over the place. So it's one of those things where as the offending player, you don't know that you're creating a bad experience for other people, but seem to have a good experience. But on the other side, it's not so great. So it's a little bit of a balancing act. We are looking at it. It is a big issue for us. And it's going to be a combination of trying to improve Netcode 3 and trying to see if there are other areas of the code that we might be able to help improve specific things, such as lag death, as an example. And another example that was given was response to unkillables, response to a kill. So those are things that aren't necessarily related to Netcode 3 or networking improvements, and we are actively looking at it.
Thanks, Frisbone. We'll go to the next one from Zoomy1. Will current bombers in-game, DB7 or Havoc, receive updated tail gunner weapons, 50 cal or 30 cal? I think this is a question for Hatch.
Yeah, I don't have any. I'm assuming this question means later progressions from early war to late war, armament changing. As far as, again, we're trying to keep things as historical as possible. So if it had 30 calibers, it's going to keep 30 calibers. If sometime down the line the same plane was used that wasn't like a new version that we build that is up armored, then we'll have to look at a change of armament loadouts or a different vehicle type that can be introduced later to satisfy that. But the bottom line is it should have what they the goal is that everything will be as it was from early war to late war. The as I was talking about before, it's all about manpower, determining what gets our focus, and so that's going to be a lot up to. We'll see what you guys where we go from here. Once we get this, we'll have some discussions and hash it all out and make a new plan.
Thanks, Hatch. Our next question is going from Booms, and it's how long for the reworked old school bunkers? And Zoom, I think you responded to a thread about this pretty recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, do you remember the answer? Go for it.
It has to do with when we're able to work on terrain again. And as you guys saw in the presentation, it's a work on progress for the most part.
So there's a couple terrain-related questions, and basically, we spent some time as a short effort because we were really interested. And we know that you guys are also very interested in seeing the further development of terrain. Obviously, it's a huge content factor when we can manipulate or improve the gameplay environment. That's going to change how battles are fought. So we understand that, which is why we were compelled to at least start to endeavor to delve into that whole understanding of why are we unable to work on terrain. So to answer many questions about terrain, we learned how to add in new facilities and to make changes and start to get used to our very archaic terrain editor, which dates back to like 2003 or 4. I mean, that's the last time it was updated. In fact, it uses the old legacy art from like the original couple of years. So we have to then guess, well, what was this back in 2002 and what did we replace it with today? So the learning curve on terrain is incredibly steep. Not only is it really steep, but it's also very complicated and high risk to update. That being said, we are committed to learn how to do it, and we got very far in our whole process in making changes and learning how we can work with this thing. However, there is one very important missing thing that we need to fix, and we don't have time to do at this moment. And that's because of our Steam stuff and that taking big priority. New terrain or modifications to terrain is not going to result in the thousands of new users. And that's the justification on that, by the way. It's called the Strat Validator, which is a process where we make all these changes done raw in our terrain editor. Then we export that out as a certain file type. Then you have to run it through this whole Strat Validator process, which makes it basically game ready and deployable. That process is capable of being rebuilt. It's capable of functioning. We can get back to it. We're going to have to invest some time into it, and it's going to be a pretty large task to do that. Are we committed to doing it? Yes, but it's going to take time, and we're not currently emphasizing that. We need to get more players in the game. That is the key. So I hope that answers a lot of questions about that.
Zoom, could I add a little something about the terrain?
Go ahead.
Okay, it relates to people talking about where you got berms inside of CPs, you got trees inside of CPs, FBs in berms, buildings that are cocked to where they're off the ground. That's all also terrain editor material. But still, if they, when they see it, they really need to report it because it is documented and ticketed for when terrain can be worked on.
.bug, man, .bug.
.bug, yeah. .bug it so that it can be, you .bug it, I go in and I take pictures and video and ticket it. And so there's a definite documentation when terrain can be worked on that it can be fixed.
Cool.
That's all.
Very good. All right, let's press forward. Weaver, you're up.
All right, our next question is going to come from Summit123, I think, and the question is, will you be using PayPal as a pay option? So I can tell you right now what we call our organic subscriber base, which is players who come to us from WWII.com. They can use PayPal and will continue to be able to use PayPal. Steam, I think Zoom, you have the answer to that. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it's a Steam.
Right.
Option.
The way that Steam, whatever Steam uses for their payment method, Steam is going to be handling. If you're a Steam user, they're going to be handling your transactions. We're not even. They're just going to send us a check. So, however you pay currently with Steam is how you'll continue to pay.
So hopefully that answers that question. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go down the list real quick. We have a lot of questions about 136. Let me find a good one here. What are the plans for HC in the future? This is a question from Birdman26. Like, what changes does CRS plan to make with them, especially after Steam? I think, as it was said earlier, once we get onto Steam and we, see the player base and a lot of things along those lines, that there's definitely going to be somewhat of internal discussion about 136 and HC and the requirements for it in terms of how we can make it easier. And I know that and we have a whole channel in Slack now that we go back and forth about ideas and things that we can do to improve it and make it so that it isn't nearly as daunting and game ending as it has been in the past. Because being an HC can be like a job, and everybody who's in there is volunteer, and we want to make it easier for everybody. So I know are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Do you have anything you want to add?
Well, High Command's going to be with us. It's part of the game. It's the backbone of the game. Even if they didn't have to move units around, they still have to be here to lead their side. It's not, you just don't want everybody going willy-nilly all over the place just to kill any 1, 2, 3 thing. You got to work as a team, and High Command is 2 teams. You got the Axis side and the Allied side, and you need leadership there to organize the battles. And no matter what version of the game we have, that is going to be a requirement of the game. Leadership, and that's what High Command is, all about leadership. And hopefully, with more officers, the officers that are in there now or future officers will have time to learn their areas so they could learn how to lead in the field. And that's the bottom line. We used to be 2 years, you would be planned to be in High Command before you could make sync. Unfortunately, with the low numbers in High Command, it's 3 months and you're sync. Maybe even faster than that. So, a lot of our officers really don't have the time to learn it. So no matter what, High Command is going to be here with the game. It's part of the game. So leadership in the battle.
All right, let's see here. We have a question from Gorblimey. Will new HE turn defensive CP buildings, so flag buildings, into an impossible frag fest? It's a good question. Hatch, I think that's you.
Where was that one?
So the question is, will new HE turn defensive CP or flag buildings into an impossible frag fest?
Impossible frag fest. I don't even know how to answer that, really. I mean, it's if it's camped per se, or I mean, it's just gonna. It should be effective for offense and defense. Let's just leave it at that.
Good
All
answer.
right.
Makes sense.
What can we expect? This is from Robbie. What can we expect in regards to lighting, rendering as you transition to Unreal, or even just graphical improvements in general?
Did you see the American Paratrooper? That's pretty much it. I mean, they're phenomenal. Go YouTube Unreal Engine trailer. They're going to be drastic. The number one thing that you'll see different, in fact, will be the graphics, and that's very, very intentional. We're trying to do basically what they would call a re-imaging in many businesses. We're trying to improve the graphics and get that up to us. That's the number one reason, by the way, people won't even consider entering our game despite all of the awesomeness. Some people are just graphic junkies. They look at it and go, nope, I can't handle that. Like, what? Dude, you can fight 200 people in a single battle with combined arms on this ridiculously huge scale. Yeah, but the graphics, man. So if we can get beyond that, that's been at us for a very long time. Next question.
Waiver had to step out. Zoom, you might have to take one.
I got one. Hold on, I just lost it. Risk ask. It was mentioned that integrated voice comms is planned post Steam. Is it planned to arrive after early release or after full release? Frisbon, I think that would be you.
Yeah, it's starting to look like it'll be after early release and before full release. So within the 5 to 6 month time frame.
All right. Let's see. Okay, Robbie asks, how do you plan on catering to players who want instant action? Will there be a learning curve remain the same as the current game mechanics? I think so. We have a pretty darn hard game to play, and that's what makes it unique. You just can't run all over the place, and that's what grabbed me a long time ago. Almost 10 years now. First time I got in here, it took me a week before I got my first kill. Yeah, it could be frustrating, but if you're a real hardcore war game type person, it's going to keep drawing you back in. And plus, our community needs to help the new players. You see them wandering around, having trouble, PM them, help them out, or use local chat. And that's where the integrated voice is going to help out, to get a hold of these new players.
Meanwhile, the training tutorials the training for people to jump in the game, we are making the first 4 or 5, the very, very basic stuff required. It will no longer be optional, and we'll make that a host side trigger just in case there is an issue. We can flick it like, okay. So basically, people who are just returning for from a very long time, or folks who are just brand new to the game, will not be able to type .graduate true/false. They'll have to go through training. And we're willing to require that because that investment of time will result into better retention and a much more informed user. Before we move on, I think Vocal, who's our artist who worked on that American Paratrooper, wanted to say something with respect to that previous question. I think Robbie asked about expectations for transitioning over to the Unreal Engine. So, Vocal, are you here? You want to go for it?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Regarding Unreal Engine, what it's going to offer is as a base straight out of the box is going to be improved lighting, rendering. The rendering systems and now the current generation sort of physically based rendering systems that are used, and this is used by pretty much all of the current generation game stuff. Physics, it comes with a lot of stuff, as I said, just out of the box, which if we were to try and implement and get into World War II Online might take quite a long time. It leaves us with a really nice base that's kept up to date, that's got incredibly good, strong documentation behind it, and it just gives us an incredible platform on which to build. And once building commences and starts progressing and starts looking up, because it's such a popular game engine, we shouldn't really find any trouble sort of like expanding the team down the line. It's quite it's kind of a quite a standard sort of piece of equipment in games development nowadays, and should really not only just open up a lot of boxes for us straight away, but kind of leave us in a strong place to recruit as well.
Good point, and that's very, very true and part of the overall strategy. So good follow-up. Thanks. Go ahead and back to the Q&A. I think we should just say at half an hour past here, so like 15 minutes, we should probably call the ball, or we're just going to be here all night, which is right. This is a lot of fun, but we still got a lot of staff here. It's a holiday weekend. We got to let them go. So
all right, we'll stop at the bottom of the hour then. All right, let's find another one here. All right, I think this one, Hatcheray, we all answered this one, but Moon Snipe, are there going to be any balancing done between the Axis and Allied armor in a way that causes the Tier 3 stage? The Axis overpowers the Allied hardcore, and it's almost impossible to really move any armor into town due to the Axis armor capabilities. Well, that's what we're doing. We're doing the HE audit, and Hatch said they're going to be doing an armor audit on all the vehicles. So it's going to take some time. I don't know if you want any more to add to that, Hatch.
No, you pretty much covered it with that statement. The armor and kinetics should handle most all of the questions regarding, one being overpowering the other, or AP versus ball, or, that pretty much covers it all.
All right, cool. All right, Mike M. For lag improvement, which is more important, processor speed or memory? I'm thinking Frisbone on that one.
Can you review that again? I was answering a different question. I didn't hear it.
Okay. For lag improvement, which is more important, processor speed or memory?
Well, definitely processor speed. It's very doubtful your memory has anything to do with it.
All right. Also, make sure you have a good connection. Also with that, I know a lot of people, I have to throw this in there, a lot of people play wirelessly. If you're having trouble, or somebody's having trouble, they're lagging, they're disconnecting, or having really bad time, get a wire, connect to your wireless router, or to whatever router connection you do, and try it wired. A lot of times they'll pick up the problem and fix the problem, because you may be fine thinking you're the only one on your wireless, but I know in my hometown here there's a cable company and they provide wireless access points. If you use theirs, I would be required to be a hotspot in my house, and that would be other people tagging in without me even knowing it. So be aware of that. Try wired if you're having a wireless problem, you think. It's just something that pops up in one of our support tickets all the time. All right. TMS, what will happen with things like bridge objects for destruction or buildings if some of the HC have to set these still? Not quite understanding that one, but not sure.
Bridge AOs and stuff.
The answer's probably going to be yes. HC will still set AOs and bridge objectives and town objectives.
Yeah, there was no plan to change those pre-Steam or even post-Steam with 136. So the objective stuff will still be a thing for HC.
All right, Capco, is it possible to review RDP mechanics, specifically the 15-hour base resupply timers prior to Steam release? If we're going to have movable brigades during Steam, 8-hour base supply timers would ease the supply management burden on map OICs. RDP bombing can be strengthened by increasing the time it takes for factories to repair damage from bombing, i.e. lengthening the lasting effects of each bomb dropped. Not sure, I guess, who would be best for that, Zoom or Zoom?
I think it's definitely something that will probably be evaluated again. The RDP, as well as tier progression, is something that's kind of evaluated almost every quarter for the most part.
I guess Zoom had to step away real quick. I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in on that one. I know RDP is a hot topic all the time. We'll come back to that one. So.
I actually just got back, but I did not hear the question. Sorry.
Okay. Is it possible to review the RDP mechanics specifically for the 15-hour base resupply timers before Steam? If we're going to have a movable brigade during Steam, 8-hour base resupply timers would ease the supply management burdens on map OICs. RDP bombing can be strengthened by increasing the time it takes for factories to repair damage from bombing, i.e. lengthening the lasting effects of each bomb dropped.
Yeah, I mean, there are going to have to be a lot of things considered, certainly with respect to supply, both in terms of the resupply rate, the total amount of supply available. Listen, if we start running, a couple thousand users concurrently, which is astronomical by comparison to what we're currently doing on the server at any given time, then yeah, there's going to have to be a hell of a lot of changes. So I don't think it's really a question of should it be considered. I think it really has to be considered. To give you a quick answer right now, it would be unwise because once we release, we'll have to make those decisions as we go, and the community needs to be prepared for that. We do our very best not to make any modifications mid-campaign, but we may be in a position where we just have to, and we'll need your understanding. We'll do everything we can to help mitigate that, of course, and avoid it. But yeah, I mean, we've done that for Welcome Back Soldiers, where it's like, holy crap, all applies, we've got to make a move. So, yeah, you guys should know that we're definitely.
We're losing you, Matt. Zoom.
Fantastic.
You're cutting out.
Well, I'm out in the boon, so sorry. Is that better?
Yes. All right.
Well,
We'll move on. We're seeing some quick cannon. We're seeing some planes done for the U.S. Are there plans to add the United States as a naval force?
One thing at a time. Let's work towards getting these American paratroopers, getting some American aircraft, and as far as the naval force, you know what? Actually, I think that probably wouldn't be too hard to do. The question, I mean, okay. I mean, all we have to work with is 3 vehicles. We would simply slap a different flag on them and maybe modify the texture a little bit, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Tiger 2 is wanting content for the Navy persona, more Navy action also. So that's pretty much same question.
Actually, I don't think it is, but I would say that our ability to do stuff with the Navy right now, like, I don't want to come up with major excuses. We're interested and committed to exploring what we can do to add in new vehicles and new types of gameplay. We were talking about how we could use transport ships, for an example, to deploy mobile spawns. That's something we could add the logic to, like we do with our trucks. We could do that. So in terms of a new ship, it's not currently on the roadmap, but it's something we can look at.
Okay. All right. Lafayette, this one I'll handle this one also. So no changes to AC in-game duties for Steam release. That will come later at 1.36, right? That all depends on how 1.36 looks. If so, how are we going to make sure we have sufficient HC online to keep supply and AOs moving for a larger Steam community, particularly during low pop HC time zones? Will the game managers be empowered to step in more frequently? Well, right now, we need players to join High Command. That is the #1 priority. As for game managers, the only people that will be allowed to move units around will be the AGMs themselves. Right now, that's Coyote and KMS, me, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the CRS team, rats, as we were called, most of them don't have any experience with high command situations, moving units, supply, or anything like that. So just because they have capital letters in game does not mean they're going to move it. You're going to scare them off the game, and they'll play in a different name because they've never done it. And if you first time you're a high command officer, it's daunting. So the best solution there is to join High Command. Yes, it's a repeated message that we've been saying for years, but it's a never-ending job to recruit High Command. TM, what hero builder benefits, if any, will be around after Steam? I guess that's use them.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same stuff. If we can explore and add in new stuff, we're all about it. being a hero builder is the #1 way to invest as a player into our success. And right now, since we introduced that several years ago, our count for heroes is fairly low, surprisingly. I'm not sure why that is, and we're doing everything we can. And the way that we can interpret your level of support is, of course, by having any subscription, because that goes into this. But if we want to get more stuff done, if we want to get more people on board more consistently, that's a great way to help out. And so if you can and you're compelled to do so, nothing has changed in terms of the value of the hero builder since its inception. We would ask, if you can do it and are interested in our success and you have the capability to do it, to please consider it. It's very, very helpful. So there you
go. There's a couple of questions I want to do, but they disappeared. I think the waiver might be privately text answering them. Okay, DM79. What's the latest on the 30 cal ST44? I guess that's you, Hatch.
The artwork's done for it, but I just have to do the it's on the list. I wish I could give you an answer. We'll get it in there as soon as we can.
Are we wrapping up in 3 minutes?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Let me pick a wherever you see anything that stands out, we should.
We have a question from one of the air guys, Burzy. There's a post in the hangar about an increase in air points for air missions, air-to-air kills, RDP bombing, and the question is, are these points coming?
As I had responded in that particular thread, I did bring it to the attention of the internal team, and we all seem to be pretty on board with it. So it's definitely being considered. The specifics to support that have not been ironed out. We are deep in the priority of getting Steam out. Will it happen before Steam? Steam is a really big target goal for us. So, I think that's going to happen just whenever it happens. But it's definitely on the list. It's totally doable. And I think we're all in agreement that we should look at it. So I hope that's encouraging and also honest that that is not a prerequisite for us to release on Steam. Will it happen before full access? I think so. Will it happen before early access? I don't know. That's not a deal breaker. And right now we're dealing with the deal breakers.
All right. I got one from Pete, PD. Player viz limits need better priority for Steam release. If infantry sees enemy first before friendly as their threat planes, and AA bombers before friendly infantry, and the planes warping, the bug blinking in and out, will that be, I guess, Frisbone?
That was a little difficult to understand, but
It is.
I generally speaking, the strategy already is we favor enemy infantry before friendlies. So you'll be seeing friendlies blink out if we're in a highly competitive environment and you don't have your viz mode setting set high enough. You should talk to a CM guy if you're unfamiliar with being able to change your viz limits. If you're not at the highest now, there are drawbacks to increasing it you should be aware of, but that is something that you can do. If you don't know how to do it, you can ask it on the forums. But generally speaking, I'm not aware of any specific issues. If you are, you can bug things. That's all I've got.
Yeah, it's, I guess, mostly about how many player limit is in a certain area. Also, you got to remember, too, with the increase of the population, we will be getting more AOs and DOs to where we could spread the player base out across the entire map. I remember back in the days when we used to have 7 AOs going. So, we get back to that, we'll be spreading the population out.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yep. So I don't see anything more. Waiver, if you want to do one more, I'm pretty much done.
Looking right now through the list.
I think we should call the ball here. We just hit 4:30 on the dot, literally. So I think we've answered tons of great questions. Waiver, you'll get a log of all the text-based questions I think that were unanswered, and we can go answer those later. So typically what we do at this point, guys, we're going to be concluding here on the live session. I like to go through and just have each staff member, if they have something they wanted to share with you, to just go and to say something, and then we might have a little chit chat and call it. Thank you very much for being here. If you want to hear from these guys, stick around for just a minute. B2K, do you have anything else you'd like to share with our community?
No, just if anybody wants to help work on the Wikipedia, hit up myself or Sniper. We'd love to have you on board.
Okay, just guys, look at the list, make sure you're ready. I'm just going to go from top to bottom. So Beer Bear, you're next, then Chin, then Dagger. So Beer Bear, go.
Sorry, what this about?
This is, do you have any last comments or thoughts you wanted to share with our community?
Well, then let me do a shout out to the Jam Corps. The guys are doing an amazing job, putting a lot of hours into it, respectfully, as they are volunteers only, and therefore I can rely on them to 100%, and this makes it really great and wonderful to work with them. So thanks for your help, guys, and to anyone else who wants to join up, as mentioned earlier, just send an email to agm@planet.com, and we will see how it goes from there. Thanks.
Yeah, great, thanks. Chim, you're up.
I just want to say I really like how this whole Rat Chat turned out, the format and everything. I really like how all the presentations and stuff. Yeah, CRS is really great. It's been really fun for me to be in. I haven't been in all that long, but very supportive, very attentive. If you are capable or have the skills to join in any specific area, do it. It's actually a lot of fun. Join High Command on either side, because like said, it's the backbone of the game. So we need your help.
Cool. We're gonna pass Dagger because he's at college right now, being a brave troop and multitasking. Kudos to him. Jevon, Paul, and then Frisbone and James 10. So Paul, you're up.
I don't really have anything to add. Just need volunteers for forum moderation and to be on that forum support team. So contact me through PM or see my announcement in the forums, and I'll see you guys in the game.
Excellent. Frisbone, anything for the community?
Yeah, I think the big thing I'd like to point out is that, if you take the presentation on the development side and what we discussed in the chat, questions answered into consideration, there are a lot of other things going on that we aren't going to be discussing that will get into the development cycle between now and the end of the year. So don't look at that list and think, oh, that's all they're doing. We're doing a lot more than what's being stated. And to emphasize, we could do a lot more if we had more people. So if you know anyone out there who has the skills, send them our way.
Otherwise, hero up. Thank you. James 10, you're up. Nothing to add. You got to tell me before I call on you. Vocal, you got anything you want to add?
Just the usual thanks for to everybody for turning up. This is one of many Rat Chats that I've been a part of, and it's great to really be able to share something exciting that I've been working on quite closely in the form of the paratrooper. I think the one thing that I would add, we are quite happy to accommodate volunteers in terms of artwork and things like that. If anybody is, even if it's contributing in the form of a couple of little environment assets. We're going to have a hell of a lot to do in terms of artwork moving forwards. Any little help, any contribution, no matter how large or small, would come in massively handy there. Otherwise, thank you everyone for turning up.
Okay, great. Old Zeke, got anything?
No, but I have enjoyed this. This is a very good format.
Sweet, that's good news. KMS, got anything? I think he's scrambling for his mute button. Kirk, we're going to get back to you, Kirk. If you show up, just message us. Then it's going to be Ohm, Pilot, Hatch, Stad Guy, Sniper, Tandle, and Waiver. So get your mute buttons ready when I call on you. Ohm, go ahead.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming here. I want to thank my teams. Work hand in hand. We're very happy to work with the players to make this game great. We're all here for you. Volunteer whatever way you can. It's the greatest game out there. There's no other game like it. You won't be able to find it. And just keep supporting us. This team's going to be big. Hopefully it'll do everything we wish it to be. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, Pilot MC.
Yeah, same here. Thanks, everyone. And if you want to see the game get better, then reach out to your friends and have them sign up and come and fight with you. Game's amazing. As someone who's been here playing for 13 years, the game's amazing when we have a huge amount of players in game. The immersiveness is just fantastic. So, get your friends to play. Bring them on board, have them join your squad, or create a squad if you don't have one. But the more people we get out on the battlefield, the better the game will be.
KMS, are you back?
Yep, I'm back.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, all I got to say is join HC. You're definitely needed.
Good point. And good stuff, Pilot. Very true. We need more players, and it's a great game when that happens. Hatch, go ahead, man.
I just wanted to say the same. Thank you all for coming and for playing and being part of our community. I also wanted to mention again the HC. It's all about it's all about numbers and your willingness to help solve problems and participate in discussions regarding everything from the numbers of people in a unit, sign up and share what time you have, or get on the forums and get with other like-minded, knowledgeable people and talk about what you think would be the next best thing. What do we need? Help us. The long and short of it is it's all about resources. Help us help you.
Very, very true. You keep hearing this message, guys. I'm just going to say this. We view it as a way to permit someone's ability to work on this game. We're not out here to get filthy rich. This team certainly is a testament to that. But again, if you can do it, sub up. At a minimum, subscribe. At a maximum, become a hero builder or a lifetime builder if you're interested in that. Talk to me about that if you are. So thanks, Hatch. Sad Guy, who's one of our artists. Hey, Sad Guy, you got something?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to add something about when we were talking about the Unreal Engine 4 benefits, and something that you didn't mention is that moving to Unreal Engine 4 actually opens up opportunities to a bunch of new set of developers. There is people who is completely committed to developing games in Unreal Engine 4. There's people who study Unreal Engine 4 at schools, and having those people, available to us, it's going to be, a great asset, and that is a huge benefit, that comes with Unreal Engine 4. I would say it's as big as all the graphical improvements compared to what we got. But other than that, I just wanted to thank everyone, for showing up and and supporting us. That's it.
Yeah, good point. Very good points there. We'll go ahead and go to Sniper, then Tandle, then Waiver. Sniper, go ahead.
I've not got much to add except that the community dev team, like many other team members, are all volunteers. So we're always looking for extra help. Everybody has a lot on their plates, and anything that can be volunteered toward the team is always a plus.
Yep. Okay, Tandle, got anything?
Just to remind you guys that when y'all are doing .bug reports, the more information you can give us, the better we'll be able to duplicate it so we can get tickets in and get it addressed. Other than that, thanks for coming around. It's been a pleasure today.
And finally, Waiver.
Just want to say thanks everybody for coming. This is, nobody would have thought, or I wouldn't have thought, back in 2001, the game first came out, that in 2017 we'd be here having a rat chat like this now. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. I hope it can continue, and we sincerely appreciate your support and volunteer. There's so much you can do if you love the game.
Okay, guys. Well, that concludes our rat chat for today. We'll keep this open for a little bit. We'll go ahead and cancel the recording, Waiver.